Hi, good morning everyone. Myself Santosh Rajendra Bola. Today's date is 17th May 2022 and today's our topic is exception handling in Java. First of all, the exception handling in Java is one of the powerful mechanism to handle the runtime error so that the normal flow of the application can be mentioned. Exception handling in Java is one of the effective means to handle the runtime errors so that the regular flow of the application can be preserved. Java exception handling is a mechanism to handle runtime errors such as class not found exception, IO exception, and SQL exception, and remote exceptions, etc. Exception is an unwanted or unexpected event uh, which occurs during the execution of a program, example at runtime, and that disturbs the normal flow of the program and instructions, and execution can be caught by handled by the program. When an exception occurs within a method, it creates an object. This object is called the exception object, and it contains information about the exception such as the name and the description of the exception and the state of the program when the exception occurs. How a programmer handles this exception. Customized exception handling, in which a Java exception handling is managed via five keywords: try, catch, and throw catch, and finally, and briefly it is uh, briefly here how they work. Program statements that have you thrown your code catch their exceptions using catch block and handles in some rational manners. System generated exceptions are automatically thrown by the Java runtime system. To manually throw the exception was use the keyword throw, and any exception that is thrown out of a method must be specified as such as a throws, and any code that absolutely must be executed after try catch block completes is a and types of the some exceptions, in which Java defines several types of exceptions that replace to its various class libraries. Java also allows users to define their own execution. The types of exceptions are there: user defined exception and built-in exception, in which occurred exception and unoccurred exceptions, in which and the hierarchy of uh, Java exception classes. The Java.len throwable class is the root class of a Java exception hierarchy, inherited by the two subclasses, exception and error. The hierarchy of Java exception classes is given below, and there are types of Java exceptions, in which there are mainly two types of Java exceptions: cleared, checked, and unchecked. And error is considered as the unchecked exception. However, according to the Oracle, there are three types of exception, namely checked exception, and unchecked exception, and named, and or error exception. In this error exception handling, checked exception, unchecked exception, and error. Difference between the checked and the unchecked exception. In this checked exception, the classes that directly inherit the throwable class except runtime exception and error are known as a checked exception. For example, IO exception, SQL exception, and the checks exception are. And the second one, it is unchecked exception. The exception that inherits the runtime exception are known as unchecked exception. For example, arithmetic exception, null pointer exception, array index of out of bound exception, etc. Unchecked exceptions are not checked compile time built, but they are checked at runtime. Third one, it is an error. Error is a recoverable. Some example of errors are out of memory error, virtual, uh, mechanic, machine error, and essential error exception. And these these are the some methods which are given in the exception handling. Thank you.